Hey everybody, this is Julian. I wanted to take a minute and talk about visiting Disney World for guests with disabilities, as you can see here. The water sound in the background is my fish tank, so you can enjoy the soothing sounds there. But I have family members that I have traveled with, or I've helped them plan trips, my other clients as well, who have different experiences, in this kind of topic as a whole. So I just wanted to sort of go over a couple of the most common questions that I have seen about this, because if it's your first trip, it can sort of feel overwhelming, obviously. So the first thing I'll say is just the general wheelchair conversation. If you're not traveling with a scooter or a wheelchair, you have someone that has a concern about longevity in the parks, then you can rent in Orlando. So, it's not uncommon. I mean, I have my pedometer or the health app in my iPhone, and if you go rope drop, meaning park open to fireworks, in Magic Kingdom or in Epcot, particularly my family, we tend to walk more in those. It's not uncommon to do 15, 20,000 steps at all. So that's miles and miles. And if someone, has back issues or whatever, and they can't do that, then this would be an option for them. I looked at the price when I was in the parks earlier this month. So there's, forgive me for not knowing the exact terms, but just a non-electric manual wheelchair. The price, the cast member told me, was $12 for that if you were going to rent at the parks. And an ECV, it was exactly right here. So they charged $70, and then they refunded the $20 deposit afterwards. So that price I received February 2019 from a cast member at Magic Kingdom. So, if you're watching this next year, there may be changes in the process or in the pricing, but this is the basics. In the past, for my family personally, I have rented from Buena Vista scooters, or rentals rather. There's a couple of reasons why I like the idea of renting from an outside company, and you can see that there are Disney partners. There's more than this one. When I've looked for my family in the past, I personally preferred the rental options that Buena Vista had, just in terms of like the return time and those kinds of things. But I've rented a double scooter with them, as double stroller with them as well. And they were great to work with, super clear, super easy. I liked them. So you may want to consider going off-site. And the reason being because, first of all, we did save a little bit of money over the course of the week renting off-site. But the biggest thing that I see is availability. So what Disney will do, let's say you're in a park in the morning, you pay your $50 for your ECV, you keep your receipt, and so you're going to go to Magic Kingdom and go take a rest, and at night go out to Epcot. You can take your receipt, and it's good for your wheelchair in your second park. You don't have to pay again. But it's based on availability. What I know, I personally only have experience with this in Magic Kingdom, but they will have a wait list, and so as an ECV becomes available, they will text you, and you can go rent it. So the biggest thing, like I said, has just been all of the ECVs may be in use, or, in my experience, I haven't seen them run out of manual wheelchairs, but it could be a busy day, who knows. So if you're looking for the independence of not having to have somebody push you, or let's say there's not enough adults to have somebody help the person in a wheelchair be pushed and also handle the stroller or strollers, right? So there may be reasons why an electric one would be the way to go, and you may not have it. If you rent it, you will always have it because it's yours for your length of that rental period. You're able to get on and off the Disney buses. In the past, my family has rented a car, and they're, once you get your system in place, a couple of you can break them down, shove them in the back if you get an SUV, and that kind of thing. But that's if you're flying in and have the ability to lift it and all that stuff. But you could, and we've done it in the past. So that's the basic idea there. A con for renting from an offsite company would be you have to store it, right? So like you have to bring it in to your hotel room every day and plug it in. You may, if you're in a regular room in a value, part of what's being in a value is less square footage. So, you may run into some things there. The Disney ones have the Disney ECVs, just strictly speaking about the scooter conversation. The Disney ECVs have USB plugs, so you could bring your USB cord, charge your phone off of it. There's a little basket in the front. You just lay your phone in the basket and plug it into the USB. When we rented from Buena Vista, they did not have USBs. The last time I worked with them was about 6 months ago. At that time, they told me they would be replacing their fleet eventually with ones that have USB plugs, but something to think about anyway if it matters to you. One thing I've also noticed with the Disney ones is they have this like automatic stopping thing. So we haven't had this problem with Buena Vista, but it's like this safety thing where if somebody walks in front of you, which you can imagine happens every 14 seconds in a busy Magic Kingdom day, right? The chair will stop, and it takes a minute. So for, 3, 5 seconds, something like that, it goes slowly, and it takes a while to get back up to the regular speed. These ones did not do that when we've rented these in the past, so it's just kind of, you're in a crowd and douche, and you kind of stop, and then you go, and it's a little, I understand why they have it, but just from not tripping up whoever is walking behind you, that isn't a thing that we've experienced with one of these. So that's kind of my big brain dump of the pros and the cons with renting in the parks or off. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was disability access service. I actually, when I'm recording this earlier this morning, I spoke to a cast member in guest services on the phone just to double check on this because it had been a while since my colleagues and I had worked on this. So this is the latest info that I have. If you are just reading my blog and you have a different travel agent, ask your travel agent. If you're traveling to Disney soon and you don't have a travel agent, I'd be happy to help you and call Disney and make sure we get you all taken care of. But the basic idea is that Disability Access Service, DAS as they call it, is sort of works like a fast pass, right? So starting at the beginning, if you're going to Disney and this is your first time and you're unclear, so here's the deal. You can, ahead of time, let's say you're staying on property, because this would change otherwise, you can book 3 fast passes per day at one specific park at a time, ahead of time. So you can do unlimited when you're in the parks, and we could talk about that later, but you can do 3 ahead of time before you travel. And you can still go in and do those, but if you're planning on using DAS, this would allow you to not have to wait in the line. So what happens is the very first day that you get to the parks, you go to guest services at the first park you're going to visit. So they're in different places, and the cast members, in the front at the ticket booths in the front where you're going to scan your Magic Band. They could help you find them. If you're in Magic Kingdom, you're going to go to one place. If you're in Hollywood Studios, it's going to be in another place. So they would help you find exactly where you're going. But you'll go over to member services and you'll just tell them that you're inquiring about getting a DAS pass, and they will have a conversation with you about the family member that needs this. So let's say you have a child with autism who would not be able to stand in a standby line for 40 minutes, but it's a ride that they could enjoy. What they will do is have a conversation with you. You don't need to bring any documentation. The cast member that I spoke to said that the cast members are actually not even allowed to look at it, just for privacy reasons and all that. But you'll explain, my child wouldn't be able to, in this case, we'll use child as an example, wouldn't be able to wait in the line. So let's say you show up to a queue and you will, the wait is 30 minutes. They will give you a return time for 30 minutes from then. So you don't get to skip the line at that time. You still have to go get something to eat, take a walk, take some pictures, get some popcorn, whatever. You find something to do for that, the length of the queue, the posted wait time at the time of your arrival. So I walk up to Dumbo. My child can't wait in the line. The posted time is 30 minutes. So I will take a walk and come back in 30 minutes, and they will put me through the Fast Pass line as if I had a Fast Pass, but I have my DAS pass. It is good for the person with the disability and 5 additional family members. So those 6 people could go through the Fast Pass. What they'll do when you first go to member services on the first day and they have that conversation with you about what your family has going on, they will take a photo of, let's use the example of your child with autism. They'll take a photo, and then that is on your pass, and you have that, moving forward. It's good for any of the parks. So the very first day, let's say you're going to go to Magic Kingdom, if we stick with the Dumbo example, and you go to Town Hall, you have that conversation, and then City Hall rather, you have that conversation, and then you have that pass for Epcot, Animal Kingdom, for the length of your stay. You're going to do another Magic Kingdom day at the end of your trip. It lasts for the length of your family's vacation. Lastly, I just wanted to sort of mention that this page on the website, I'll link to it in the blog post, but the general services page for guests with disabilities has a lot more topics to cover than I have personal experience with. So there's, for instance, companion animals, service animals. You'll see a lot of service animals in the parks. My family and I personally just don't have experience with this, so I can't talk to it from a first-hand perspective, and I haven't had any clients who have needed that at this point. So, take a look here, and you'll see, information on everything. Some things are just generally helpful, like the family restrooms. My family uses those, so there may be things that are just of a general help to you. Another thing you'll find in here is information about where there's quiet spaces to take a break. I mean, anybody would need that. So there may be things that are of general interest, even if you don't have firsthand experience with this. But like I said before, if you are looking to plan a trip, you need help with that, or just need somebody to talk through questions about visiting, if this applies to your particular situation and you just need a friendly face to help you talk through stuff, go to the contact section and just drop me a note, and I will be happy to help you as best I can. All right. Have a magical vacation, whether or not you have it on the books yet or not. I sincerely hope that you have a great trip. All right. Thanks.